Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're excited today.
Here we are again, once again, one more Friday after 2 consecutive Fridays with Asbjørn.
Yes.
Here we are
Yes.
again, talking, here immersed in this storytelling saga.
Right. So, as we know, this is our career development series. And if you're seeing our face for the first time, I'm Inkechi, and
I am Lynette.
yes, and together we're the co-founders of 2 Cents. 2 Cents is a network, a community where we're helping underrepresented experts in achieving their goals professionally and personal development goals. So we're here to create a community where we can collaborate and co-elevate with each other. So of course, today promises to be exciting because we're going to be talking about how to tell your story in an interview. So last week, just to give a recap, for those of you who missed out, so last week we talked about cover letter, how to tell your story in a video cover letter. And now that you've succeeded in writing that video cover letter and you've landed yourself an interview, what is next? So today we're going to be unfolding how you can better tell your story once your recruiter or a recruiter reaches out to you and invites you for an interview. And we have in the house Asbjørn, who is going to be walking us through how to tell a better story in your interview.
Yes, and you would ask, maybe you would wonder why Asbjørn? Well, Asbjørn has been in the field of storytelling and public speaking for over 20 years.
Yes.
10 years as a career coach and over 2 years being like in the field of recruiting. So he knows, he has his hints, he knows what, especially in Denmark, what recruiters are looking for, what kind of stories are hitting the ball, and of course we want to hear from him.
Yes.
We need to hear from the ones that say yes, you are in. You got the position. So who else is better than him to tell us
Yes.
how we can tell that story that will connect with the recruiter or with the hiring manager.
Right. So if you have questions, please drop your questions. We'll be happy to take them in the comment section, and have Asbjørn as well will be, of course, happy to attend to all the questions that you may have. So first,
Asbjørn,
yes.
Yes.
is storytelling in the interview? What does that mean?
A lot. A lot. Storytelling is fundamental because storytelling persuades like nothing else the HR chief, your common boss to hire you. You wanna shine with your story, and you wanna tell a story because it's the strongest tool to make people listen, and also your common boss. So in a job interview, the strongest tool and the most important tool is your story. Like, for example, the question is, why should we hire you? What do you have to bring? Or the first question, Linnea, often asked in a job interview. What is that? The first question, what is
I
that?
think that one of the first questions, the first is tell me about yourself. It's a very
Yes,
broad question, and it's actually
exactly.
not a question itself, but it is because they are asking you for something. They are requiring you to tell something.
Yes. So normally you have 2 minutes. Tell us about yourself. Now, in those 2 minutes, you want to create a story where, like, say, if it's Lego and you are applying for a position at Legos, you want to be a part. You want to tell a story, so you become a part of the company. Ever since as a child, my childhood, the whole child, was Legos. I started playing with Legos and my brother and me when we were 3 years old. And we have had them ever since we can remember. In Christmas present, first we got the house, the red house that we had to assemble, and then every year we got something in Lego, and I love, and I still do my Legos. And now with my own kids, we almost play Legos every day. Lego is a part of my life, and that's why I want to work with you here at Legos. So that could be an example on, on a short story where you become a part of them.
Right.
And that's the strongest tool, and that's the best you can ever do, is become a part of the company, that you love the product. You
Mm-hmm.
love the product, and it's all over in your house, just to exaggerate. Um,
Right.
Even better, you can tell about your excitement when the airplanes came out, or about the excitement when the boat that could sail, both with engines and a sail on the boat, and you could steer it,
Mm.
from a radio. I remember when they came out, and we, or the Lego car. So let's hear a story about that. Just a short story. I was 12 years old when the Lego car came out, and we played it all summer with that Lego car, and blah 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 blah. And
Mm-hmm.
in that story, you want to create happiness, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
create excitement, and you you
Mm-hmm.
you want to sell yourself in eagerness to work for them. It's
Mm-hmm.
been your lifelong dream, and
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing else than them, that
Mm-hmm.
working for them. There's nothing else. It's your highest goal is to get that job, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what you want to convey in the interview.
Mm-hmm. So this is basically you're saying that in that first question, we need to highlight our motivation to work
Yes,
for that company. So why do I want to work for that company? Kind of tell it, let them know through that story that
yes.
usually comes from a background story, right?
You could
How
all
about,
you could.
yes?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. How
Say
about
it.
telling a story that somehow connect or reflect one or two skills, soft skills or
Yes.
character traits of my personality?
Um, yeah, you could do that too. But like, if I was gonna work with engineering at Legos, I would of course tell about how I start assembly, and picking apart the engines, and that got me steered into becoming an engineer. and
Mm.
Mm,
and the engines of Legos is still my passion, or you know so you can easily combine your skills, uh, working skills, with their product.
mhm.
Let's hear your story in Gigi, um, with Vestas. Let's hear your story, because I just want to tell the listeners we have planned this. So one of the things I loved with working with Two Cents, that we are doing it in real life. So I'm making them send this application. I'm making them doing a real cover letter that is being used in real
Right.
life, like you, Lene. And I'm
Mhm.
making I'm training your job interview skills. I'm training your CV writing skills and your cover lettering skills. And you are sending applications,
Yeah.
Right.
Lene. So that's the great thing about this, that you're using it in practical life here now. And Jechi, let's hear your story about Africa and your job at Vestas.
Yes, it's an interesting story I would like to share, of course. So, just a little backstory to provide context. So, the story is about when I applied for a student job at Vestas. Vestas is actually a wind energy company, meaning they deal with clean energy here in Denmark. And so, I was applying for a student position at Vestas. And how I introduced myself, telling my story, is starting from when I was growing up, because I grew up in Africa and Nigeria to be precise, and we have poor electricity. There's literally no light. You can go 24 hours without light. And so people have decided to, use, local ways to generate light. There's this lamp called Atupa. So in my story, I talked about how I grew up and reading my last exam. During my last examination, I was reading with Atupa, and it uses fossil fuel, which is, of course, not clean energy. And as a result of that, me and my sister were reading. My sister got burnt by the Atupa. And this has actually created a burning desire for me to do something in the energy industry. And this is my passion to change the situation of energy, and thus my motivation to work at Vestas, because they provide clean energy. So this is my story, how I introduced myself. why I'm passionate and would love to work at the company.
See,
And she got the
that's
job, of course.
she
Yes.
got the job. She got the job. See, that is an awesome example. That is an awesome example how you become a part of their passion, their dream, and their goal, and how you met the opposite, being a child and being burned because you didn't have electricity, and you had to make your own kind of thing that burned you. So that's top notch. It cannot be better, and it is very good story. Wonderful, I
Gracias.
love it.
She said gracias in Spanish.
Gracias, gracias.
It's like the only thing I know is Spanish.
It's a good word to learn. Asbjørn, Leticia in the chat is asking, the comment is asking, how much do you think is formality important, and till what extent are we welcomed to show our outgoing personality, our outgoing, less formal personality?
Very good question. Very good question. I love. I've been teaching a lot of workshops about the job interview, and people were, I gave them tools, and people were doing role plays about them. Now, one of the things I always said in my workshops about a job interview was this survey. Think about this: a big survey in the States. In the United States, they survey about anything. That's a wonderful thing about. Now, this is a question. What do you think? At every round, there's 6 people, 5 people interviewing you. Each person, all these 5 people, what is the first thing they think about the applicant? About the applicant abilities, what is the first thing they want? Is a quality that they want the applicant to have. What is the first quality that they are thinking about the applicant should have? It's a question.
That is again, I'm thinking, but
I think it will be like team playing skills, the ability to work.
What?
Team
playing skills, probably the ability to work with other
team
people.
playing?
Team playing.
Yes.
Like, to be a team player.
Team player. Oh, no. That's
critical
not
thinking.
Somebody said critical thinking.
No. You know what it is? Let me hear more.
Active learning, ability to be able to learn, or effective communication could be.
No. This is so good. And you, every time you go to a job interview, think about this. You have this question in your mind. The most important thing is that they are all thinking about how would this person be waiting in the line at the water post, waiting in line for water at the water post.
So patience?
How would this person be waiting in line for water at the water post?
Could you explain what that means? So,
in the States, a way to get a break at all working places, you go for water. You go for cold water. So there's always a line to get water at the water post.
Right.
It's a very normal thing when I've been there for 3 years in California, and that's you don't drink so much coffee. You go for water, and you stand in that line and you talk to people.
So the ability to
integrate,
entertainment. You first and foremost got to entertain, be happy, be smiling, talking, tell a joke, self-irony.
Okay.
I went for a job that I really wanted very much. I was very nervous. I didn't sleep at all in the night. And I was it was a third round at a major job that I really wanted. And I remember I went for a run. Very against all advices. I went for a run because I could not relax, and then I took my shower and I biked to the working place. And I was there right on time, and I came in very happy because I was full of endorphins from my run, and I was so happy to be there, to be in the third in the round. And I did not know that not everybody was there, so I just sat down in a chair. And I sat down in the biggest chair at the end of the table, and I laughed after I had been giving my hands to everybody, laughing, and I kind of manic in a good sense. And then I sat down in a chair, and then they start all laughing, and I said, no, that's it. That's the boss's chair. And he just came in that minute, and I said, oh, I'm taking over the firm. I sit in your chair now. I'm the new boss. And he cracked up. He thought it was so funny. Oh, you are, huh? And they all laughed. Now, I got the job. And we had the most wonderful because the interview started at such a happy note that we kept on being happy. And my boss, he was the head boss, but I had a team boss, and he said it was so good to have me coming because they had just had 4 boring applicants that they did not smile, and that they were so not relaxed. They were so not relaxed, and I came there all laughing, and I cracked up when I realized that I was sitting in the boss chair, and that was a big no-no in the company. I could feel right away, but it was funny, and he loved my joke about I'm taking over the company. So that showed me that be yourself, and if you feel like being happy, be happy. But people want it. It is so boring to have 12 people they sit there all day for 8 hours with a lunch break interviewing people, and it's wonderful for the team to have a happy person coming in that's laughing. And I took over the word right away because I told about my run, and I told about that I'd been so nervous that I didn't sleep all night. And they laughed at that too. And I said, I really want this job. So because they asked me, why didn't you sleep? Because I want this job so bad. And they all liked my honesty.
Yeah.
So yes, be honest and be yourself and be happy. Yeah.
I can really resonate with what you just said now. Be honest, be yourself, and be happy. Because that also, I can say, also landed me this job that I have right now by just being myself and be honest. So I was asked the question of, oh, you don't look tough. And this is a business development job where you need to talk to partners. You have to be assertive. And I'm like, this is who I am. And I'm sure that I can actually deliver with this. Normally, a typical response would be like, yes, I'm tough because I've done this or I've done that. Well, at that point, I did not see the need to change myself or try to impress. And then when I got my feedback, the recruiter said one thing she really likes about me is that I have an opinion. And despite the fact she pointed that out, I was able to say, no, but with this, I can still talk to partners because I've done this before. So I don't have to change who I am. So I can really resonate with your story.
I really like your approach. I really like that approach, Asbjørn. Because normally you see how we came with a lot of skills. What are we? Because this is what we are wired for.
The sound is falling out.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but the picture is okay. Now you're back. You're back now.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe the internet.
Yeah, maybe the internet kind of. No, I was just saying that I really like your approach because I would have never thought that entertainment was gonna be that so thought.
It is.
So such a skill, and it's true because actually help everyone in the room to loosen up a little bit, to get into that relaxation and smile. These endorphins that when you laugh, are released. Then it's okay. Then we are already setting up the mood of the whole interview. So I think it's a very good approach, and I'm gonna start doing it now. Although I'm normally like very lively in my interviews or in my conversations, I like it. I think it comes natural to me, but I'm gonna do it more intentional now.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. Yes, exactly.
And coming back to storytelling. Sorry, no,
I was just gonna take over the show. I was just gonna.
Again, you love taking over the show.
Yeah, I love taking over the show. I'm sorry.
Just to come back to your same answer, that you also introduced some storytelling in it very smoothly because you were talking about your run, about how you didn't sleep. This is also a story that you brought, right?
Exactly. Be personal. Get personal and get vulnerable. We talked about that in the early episodes. Brené Brown, Brené Brown.
Yes.
Make a Brené show personal vulnerability. I was so nervous I haven't slept all night. Why? Because I really want this job. You know, that's a good thing to say. You can say he didn't sleep. Uh, well, I wonder how he is, how much energy he has when he has slept. That's one of the things they talked about, because I had my common colleague was one of the persons in the group, and they laughed about, how much energy will he have when he have slept. And it's funny to hear what people talk about after you left, and how they decide that you are the one for the job. And
Absolutely.
of course the it is so important to look with eye contact all around. Sometimes you can't remember all the 6 names, and sometimes you don't know who's going to be your coming boss. You may know the head boss, but you don't know who's the boss, and sometimes you don't know who's the cleaning lady. In Denmark, it's pretty usual to bring the whole company, with all aspects in the company, also the cleaning,
Yes.
to the interview, because they want the cleaning department to have a say too. uh,
Absolutely.
and you have to look all around, and have the same equal eye contact with everybody. So remember to do that Obama turn that I talked about, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, when you are talking. uh, so that's important too, and just not look at the main boss, because sometimes the main boss will give away the hearsay to the next in command.
Hmm.
You don't know about that. Often the next in command decides more than the head boss. So that's so important that you share equal attendance to
Yeah,
to everybody. Nah?
attention.
Yeah.
So, Asbjørn, do you have any structure for the story when you're going to say when you're going to tell a story to answer a question? Because
Yeah.
some
You,
experts talk about this SAR model,
yeah.
situations, actions, or results. What is your
Yes.
take on that?
I want you to I want you, Linnea, to read up your application that you sent me this morning. Before you read that up, I want the audience to think about a story, the storytelling frame. Now, the storytelling frame is the Kendall Haven neuroscientist. Neuroscientist proven it a huge neuroscientific product. There has to be a main character. There has to be maybe an antagonist, maybe not, but a main character, a struggle, and a resolution. A main character, a struggle, a fight, and a success, and a resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Now, read up your application, and the audience is thinking about who's the main character, who is the enemy, and what's the struggle, and what's the resolution. So that's four things. And just read up slow your application there.
You mean the one that I am talking about my journey and how did I
Yes,
get here
Cuba.
from
Yes,
Cuba? All right. So I will read it and then we can discuss about it. Okay.
yes, yes,
So it's kind of a summary of who I am. It's kind of answering actually this kind of question of tell me something about. I want to hear from you. Tell me something personal. That's what the intention of this answer.
yes.
So I start saying, okay, after working as a project manager, software analyst, and quality administrator, I concluded that I was not passionate about my career. So then my passion quest began. Wherever I am, I have to feel love, freedom, and connectedness. And that's what bring me to start my accommodation business in Cuba with only 1 month business administration training and a worn out house and a ridiculously scarce resources. I launched myself to pursuing autonomy and human connection. And I did achieve all those. As a hostess, housekeeper, marketing executive, manager, and tour guide, these are all the titles that I put myself in that business, in that role, I developed the skills that would become my success toolbox for the rest of my life. When you grow up in a constantly uncertain environment and precarity like the one we have in Cuba, You need to be proactive. You need to be creative at the core, at your core, and make hay when the sun shines. You learn how to adapt as the circumstances change. And most importantly, you learn how to smile no matter what. And this is something that is very typical in Cuban, to be honest, not only about myself. So, being exposed to such an international environment and social interaction sparked an inevitable interest in human behavior and foreign cultures. I then decided to take my career to the next level, and I applied for a scholarship to move to Europe to study communication, digital communication leadership. All my dreams were then in one only basket. There's still a long uphill way to run, but I'm confident in my potential because life begins when our comfort zone ends, and I cannot be more outside. Challenges have made me, and so my perseverance and consistency. What do I strive for? I want to create content that makes a difference, help businesses to communicate their value, and help people unfold their greatness. Here to connect, serve, and grow. So this is something that I wrote with the aim of having in mind like a kind of outline of how I came here. And I wrote everything intentionally, like adaptability, some of the skills that I consider good strengths, adaptability, creativity, problem solving, multitask. I don't know if you can see that in the story, but this was the
Yeah, yeah,
intention.
yeah. I
I
can, I can. So now, who was the main character in the story?
I was the main character.
Yes, and who was the antagonist?
It, I think the uncertainty that I was living in Cuba,
Yes, yes.
the scarce resources, the difficulties, the challenges that I went through all the time, to also my lack of passion for my the way I was living before my career that I felt passionate about, and that kind of
Exactly,
moved me to
exactly. Yeah,
change.
yeah, 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 yeah. And what was the struggle?
Uh, I think the struggle has to do with the resources that I didn't have.
Yeah, the struggle. You couldn't really. This is I am just guessing now, because you know your struggle. But there's a reason why you left Cuba, right? What was the main reason why you
The
left
main
Cuba?
reason is because I couldn't expand my whole potential in Cuba. There is a lack of
Exactly,
freedom there, all the way from my expression and my growth, that I couldn't fulfill there, and I needed to expand that. I needed to do something else where I can create more and grow more.
see, there's a lack of freedom. Now, if you even want to take that, lift that story up, make it higher, make it better storytelling,
Hmm.
I would dig into the lack of freedom.
Hmm.
And I would dig more into that. If you don't give people freedom in a nation, they will leave.
Hmm.
So I would, if I were you, I will name some examples on the lack of freedom.
Hmm.
Just don't describe the lack of freedom. Let's hear some details. Give us some examples. What
Hmm.
could be an example of lack of freedom?
Hmm.
What could,
Eh,
there was a question?
yeah, I'm thinking. Like for instance, if I want to in my tours, I gave tours to my clients, and I needed to be very careful to what I was going to say to them about the politics, because they were very very curious about Cuban politicians and what is the regimen about, and like hot topics. And I couldn't be totally open and honest about it, even
Why?
though I did, because we don't have freedom of speech there.
No, no, no. You need to go. Why? What will happen if you were, if you were not, if you were? Would have happened if you criticized the regime? See,
Okay,
that's
I
what
could
you
go.
need
I
to.
could. Okay, I see. I could have the police or the state, the government after me, like hunting me because I was against the government, and that would maybe I don't know, they would cut my license to my for my business because it could come across with being against against the revolution, against the regiment. So it could go very, yeah, very difficult
But
for me.
see, we don't know that. So you need us to explain. They will cut my business or maybe throw me in jail. Is
Yeah,
that you need
yeah,
to? Is and that's the remember details. What do we call that concept in storytelling? What do we call the concept when the front?
transportation.
Yes, it is so important when you describe and when you tell a story, you need to be detailed because the
Mm,
audience doesn't know what you're talking about. And the audience in this example has
sure.
never been and has never
Mhm.
lived in Cuba. And we have only experienced freedom here. So we don't know really
Yeah,
how it is in Cuba. Of course, I know because most people know that there's not like but I don't know for sure. Are they really throwing you in jail? I
yeah.
don't know for sure, but
Mm,
that's very interesting, and you have some knowledge there that you can sell. For
that's
example, you could say in a job interview, I could not live in a non-free society. I could not live with the risk maybe being thrown in jail if I said my opinion. And I love this new country of mine where I can say anything to anybody about politics, about the government without having that fear. Now, that would that was showing vulnerability, but it was also be showing that you love Denmark and you will stay here
hmm.
when you were in a job interview here in a
Mhm.
Danish company.
Totally.
And I would play on those tunes. I would play on those tunes,
Hmm.
lift up Denmark because of its freedom, of its political freedom. you
Which
know
is
it is your show. You have 2 minutes in a job interview, and it's your show, and you're coming with it with a lot of exciting information, and Cuba is for us exotic, and it's dance, it's music, it's sun, it's a lot of partying, whatever. That's my expression anyway. I've never been there, but you're coming with this. You are exotic, and play on those tunes.
hmm.
I miss my music. I miss the music of my country and the dance of my country, but I sure do not miss
The lack of freedom.
the lack of freedom. Just that sentence would be awesome in a job interview
Hmm.
because everything that makes you come on stage, everything that brings you to that stage, you gotta make some.
Magnified.
Yeah, you get on that stage and be seen. Get upon that stage and get seen. That's the words of BB Brandon Brown. Yeah.
That's true.
So play on everything you got, and Deji, play on your like you did, with Vestas and the energy and the electricity. That was a wonderful story. Use your personal story to get the job. You have
So,
an amazing, both of you, personal stories and
Yeah.
personal background and personal history. Use it in your job interview.
Yes, or in any applications, because what you just said now, I was
Exactly.
smiling in my head when you said everything about Cuba, and I can relate because I think that I applied some of these elements in my Erasmus scholarship that I got. And I think this is part of the interest why they picked, okay, we want to learn about her. So there is this thing where I come from. My president made a speech in Berlin 2016 where he said, women belong to the kitchen, the living room, and the bedroom, meaning that they don't need to be
No.
educated. And so I played on it saying that I love to be educated. And this is proving my president wrong because I want to further my education. And if I stay in this
Very
space,
good.
if I stay in this space, then it's going to limit my knowledge. And so this is why I've applied for the Erasmus program because I believe that women have so much more to do in the society than just the kitchen, the living room.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Very good.
brilliant.
Who is your president now?
still the same president, Mohammed Buhari.
what is it? Is it what is it? What's the country, African country called? You're from?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Yes.
Oh God, did he
Mhm.
really say that? That's terrible.
Yes, he did.
Uh,
Yeah.
So
that's terrible.
imagine coming to a different culture that have a different mentality, and then you're selling this story. People don't know this, so it's very interesting for them. And seeing a girl being bold enough to call out the president in her application letter and saying that we can do much more than that. So I think your tips are very very
Mhm.
helpful.
And I can see
Thank
the
you. Thank
flow.
you.
I can see with this kind of rhetorical, I can see the flow in which you can actually travel with the hero in the hero's journey. So, okay,
Mhm.
when
Exactly.
is the persona, the protagonist of this story coming from? What happened there that made her or him change the
Mhm.
course of that pathway? And then why is she now, he or he now? Why
Yes.
is he now? What is he? So it's kind of
Yes.
saying why does she want to apply for this job, even though I'm not saying it if
Mm.
specifically why I. But it's another question that actually asks that.
Mhm.
Why do you want to apply for us? That's a very typical question. Why do you want to
Yes.
work here in this company? Do we continue with that narrative, or
Yes.
would you have another?
Yes. No. Continue with your personal story, and continue making a personal story and make it vulnerable. Why do you work? Why do you want to work here? So let's say Mind Valley, Line, your Mind Valley application, job
Mm.
application.
Hmm.
Why do you want to work at Mind Valley?
Hmm. That in that question, I think I would be with Man Valley, but particularly because I also think that we need to tailor the answer to the
Job.
company, per se, and the job ad. So
Yes.
when I mean by the company, I'm referring to specifically the vision, the mission, and the values of the company, right?
Hmm.
So I would go back. In like maybe 5 years, 6 years ago, when I had a breakdown and I needed to ask for help because I couldn't help myself, even though I was struggling, like scrolling up and down Google looking for answers that I couldn't
Mm.
get. And I was very depressed, even though I didn't know myself that I was depressed, but at least I was very confused. And when I went to ask help because I couldn't find an answer, I had a consultation with a psychologist, and she said, Lynette, you are depressed. I said, what, me? No. How can I be like, yes, you are depressed? You need to get some kind of go into a coaching group where we can work this out. And that was the best decision I could ever had, because I realized that I was so lost that I was stuck in my, not only my career but also in my personal life. And then I started to gain that interest in human behavior and personal growth, how the mind works and why we behave the way we do. And I became very curious about all this topic. And I think that swifted completely my way of seeing life and what I wanted to do and what path I wanted to take from now on. And then I started my personal growth journey.
Mm.
I just recently found out Mind Valley. Unfortunately, I wish I could have found it before, earlier, much earlier, but it just came across with me in this past, even the last year, in the middle of the lockdown, and I cannot be more grateful for that, because that saved me. Finding Mind Valley saved me from another breakdown. Me alone in Denmark, close in a house with people that we barely talk each other, because everyone was kind of neurotic and isolated because of the lockdown just started. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do here? Writing my thesis, no social contact at all. And I found my valley with all the wisdom that you, my valley, bring, and you just saved my life for second time. So I really think that I will put all of me in there if I get this job, because I don't want people that are going through the same hardship that I was going to be helpless. And if we
Mm.
can help, so there we are. It will add a lot of meaning to my life.
Exactly.
That would be the
Exactly.
kind of
Very.
answer. Maybe shorter,
That's a good story.
but
Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
story. It is. There was four questions. We shall to
I
very
mean,
good. Thank you very much. It was excellent pass by you there. Now, just to make sure that we got things done that we planned, the four first questions we want to link to the 27 killer questions and the answer, the 27 job interview killer questions and their answer. It's a document that's on the K forum, and we translate it into English by Google Translate, and we will link to it. And it's a wonderful document, and it's normally those 27 questions you get in a job interview, and they're called killer questions because they use them to kill people. You know what I mean? But the wonderful thing about this document is it describes what you should say. You know, have suggestions upon suggest what you should answer to these 27 killer job questions, and we take the first four because it's getting how much? It's 45 minutes, so we have 4 minutes left. We take the. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's fine. We are about to
Wrap
finish
up.
this.
Yeah. So let's read up those four first questions. The first question was.
Tell me about yourself.
Yeah. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
Why do you want to work for us?
Exactly.
Then the other
And-
one that is very usual is why should we hire you?
Yes. And what how would you answer that, Linnea?
I think that
Mind Valley.
this
Mind Valley.
question to Mind Valley
Yeah.
is I would need to highlight my strengths, like three main or three core strengths that are aligned to the requirements that they are asking in the job ad. For example, they are talking about a job in the job that I want to apply there. They are asking for job management, creativity, content creation, and video kind of things. It's more like a creative job. So I need to come up with a story that showcase a moment in time, a success story that showcase how I did what I can do for them.
Yeah. Yeah. You could do that. I think maybe it would be a better idea to lift up the company. So why do you want to work for us? Because Mind Valley, you just told me Mind Valley saved your life, and
No,
that's
but
the story.
we are talking about why should we hire you, right? This is the question that we are. Why should we hire you?
So how we're thinking about it is when they ask a question, why should we hire you? What they're really asking is, what can you give me that another candidate cannot give me? What is that thing about you that makes you stand out from the crowd? And so we think that this is the moment of selling yourself in a story. So for example, the example you gave with Lego, it would be because while I was growing up from 11, I have known how to unpack and pack things up. I'm very good with my hands. That way you're showing that you're a problem solver, for example, if it's an engineering field. So you're giving them reasons why they should hire you. You're not saying, oh, I'm a problem solver, but you're saying it in a story that you are actually a problem solver, and they can see it from you growing up, right from when you were a kid, creating Legos.
So this is like, what are you bringing to the table?
Exactly. What do you bring to the table? Talk about what you bring to the table. Yes, very good.
And then another very key question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years time or 10 years time? It's like classic. It goes directly to your goals in the company. Do you really want to stay with us? Like, what do you see yourself, or are you just passing by?
Yes. So, and that's a tricky question. I would like to just share my story and I can get your feedback. So how to answer this kind of classic question would be, you need to demonstrate that you're interested, not just in the company. Of course, you've already said that from telling your story, tell us about yourself, but in the department in itself. that's the job role precisely. So for my case, it would be sales business development. Why? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So how I would answer that would be, right now, I want to be able to be great as a salesman, which is learning about the best ways to pitch sales, learning about the best ways, what I need to do, having my own script, what I need to do to sell, to win customers for the company. But of course, I see myself in the next 2-3 years growing into this role where I can perhaps be a team lead in sales. So you're also not telling them that you're leaving sales rep, but you're telling them that you're interested to grow within the department. So they're already looking at you as someone that is invested in the department, which is from sales rep, you're moving into a sales team lead where you're not just winning partners for the company, but you're training people in your team to be as good as you are. So that's how you should answer such questions. So show like a trajectory of how you see yourself growing within the department.
Yes.
That is key.
Do you have
It's
any?
also it's also important to be honest. Well, in 5 years, I think it's important for me, as I already told, I love your company, but it's also important for me to get challenged. And I have felt like every 2 years, it's important that I get more or other more responsibility, like promotion. And I am eager to climb the ladder. So really, if you want to keep me, give me more responsibility and promote me and give me more pay, and I will show my worth. Just be honest in your dreams. If you have big dreams and you want to climb that ladder in Legos or Mind Valley, just tell us. Tell us.
Okay.
Challenge me, and I'll meet your
Yes.
challenge. That's one of the sentences you can say. Because companies love people that, as long as it's good for the company, uh, they love people that has big dreams in their career.
Dream big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we are
Yes.
wrapping up now.
Yes.
If the audience has any other question, please, this is the moment. If not, you can still leave your comments and we will come back to you with some answers and some tips. We are going to drop the link with the 27 answers
Yes.
for the interview questions on the, it's not answers, actually the strategy that you should follow to answer every question. And there are 27 to answer. You will get it in the recap post that we always do. And this is how we are saying goodbye.
Yes,
To
but thank
Asbjørn
you.
and to you.
Thank you, Asbjørn, for joining us
Thank you.
again. And thank you, everyone.
Always a pleasure.
Up until the end of this live. And stay tuned because we have more for you next live. Check our page. Follow us on Facebook if you're not following already. But thank you, and we'll see you in our next live.
Bye-bye. Stay tuned, you too, Asbjørn.
Thank you.
Bye.